Solving equations using the graphing calculator. We've looked at solving equations the old school way, where you do the same thing on each side of the equation until the letter is by itself. We've looked at the magic bridge method, where things are moved across the bridge until the letter is by itself. We've learned about the equation solver operation on the graphing calculator that solves for an unknown if we can get one side equal to 0 first. In this video today, we're going to learn to enter equations here in the function editor, then graph them here to see where the graph crosses the x-axis. And this two-dimensional graph can be changed to a number line graph and plotted there. This point represents the solution x equals 7. That's where it crosses the x-axis on the graph view, and that's where it is marked on the number line. Let's solve this first equation, 3 minus 2n equals 13. Just like using equation solver, we need to get 0 by itself on one side of the equation. We can use the magic bridge again for this. We can move the 13 to the left side of the bridge. Over here it becomes negative 13. And we have 0 left on the right. We press the y equals key so we can enter our equation. We need, however, to change the n to an x for it to work here in the function editor. So here it is entered in y1. We have 3 minus 2x minus 13. We graph by pressing graph or zoom 6 if we want to get a standard window. We see the x-intercept here. If we count from the right, it looks like the answer for x, or in this case n, equals negative 5. Let's look at the table view by pressing second, then graph on the calculator, and we can scroll up to where we see y1 equals 0, and that proves that our answer is negative 5. So negative 5 associated with 0. We have our check, which we do by going back to the home screen by pressing second, then quit, then back to our original equation. We store the answer, negative 5, for n, but we can just use x because it's easier to do, just one keystroke instead of two. And since we get 13, we know that negative 5 is the right answer. Check. Here's another problem. It seems more difficult with unknowns on each side of the equal sign. We need to get one of the sides equal to 0, and let's set up the bridge to make it happen. Let's move the terms on the left side to the right side. Moving to the other side of the bridge, the 5x becomes negative 5x and the 18 becomes negative 18, or minus 18. And since we have nothing on the left, we can just put 0 there. We go to our function editor by pressing the y equals key. Since we have one side equal to 0, we can put this in y1. We press graph or zoom 6. It looks like the line crosses at 8, meaning the value of x is 8, or approximately 8. We check out the table view by pressing second, then graph, then we scroll down to see where x is 8. And we see that when x is 8, y is 0. That's going to be your solution. Now here's another problem. 4y minus 6 equals 10. Stop the video and see if you can solve it by graphing on the calculator. Then restart it to see if you have the correct answer. To me, the easiest way to solve one side for 0 is to move the 10 over to the left side of the equal sign. So now we have minus 10 on the left side and 0 on the right side. Now we go to y equals in the calculator and put the left side in. We have to remember that the function editor y equals only works with the variable x. Graph it by pressing graph or zoom 6. We see by where the function crosses the x-axis that the value of y is 4. We test the value of y equals 4 by taking the original equation, substituting 4 for y, and typing in the left side of the equation. So we see that since it equals 10, 4 is the right answer. Check. Let's look at one with unknowns on each side of the equal sign. Stop the video and see if you can solve it by graphing the calculator, then restart it to see if you got the correct answer. Let's move the terms on the left side over to the right. Now on the left side we have 0 on the right, or the opposite side of the original terms on the left. Press y equals to get to the function editor and put it in y1. Then graph or zoom 6. It looks like x is -1. Let's check -1 is the right answer by going back to the original equation, store -1 for x, then enter each side of the equation and see if you get the same thing. And since both sides are 16, we know that -1 is the correct solution. Check. With all the different ways of solving equations, let's look at some advantages of solving problems this way, which is solving one side of the equation for 0, then graphing. When the line crosses the x-axis, that is the answer. Other equations besides linear equations can be evaluated using this method. For instance, this is an absolute value equation with two solutions that appear along the x-axis on a number line. Or even a quadratic equation can show 1, 2, or no solutions using this method.